Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Optmyzr. I'm Navah Hopkins, and I am delighted to bring to you my humble opinion of what does it look like in the day of the life of the auditor and ultimately Optmyzr. Optmyzr actually spelled correctly. Thank you so much for investing your time with us today. I am delighted to be joined by the wonderful Arun. He's part of our engineering team, and he actually built the amazing weather tool that we'll be looking at today, as well as some of many other tools. Arun, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Nava. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, just to level set of how we're going to look at today, we're going to be going through a bunch of tools because let's face it, we have not a lot of time in our days. We want to rapid fire. So this is not meant to be a deep dive into any one particular tool. Every tool we're covering today has their own demo videos, which we will happily link in the video for here. But what we do want to make sure that you are paying attention to is the following. One, how often are you going into each of these individual tools? And how often are you allowing analysis to be part of your day versus action? A big part of being a PPC auditor and kind of looking at your campaigns is understanding sometimes it's okay to take a step back and not act, but other times you definitely want to act. And Optmyzr is your friend and partner in making sure that your accounts are running all the time, regardless of whether you're there to press the button. We're here to help. So what we'll be going over today, and again, most of these tools are familiar, but we do want to make sure that you're aware of some additional use cases. But some of them are actually kind of new, and we're really excited to share with you how to think about them. So the first is our PPC Benchmarks tool. This is going to enable you to really understand how your campaigns are behaving together. We'll next hand it over to Arun to talk about optimized campaigns by weather, as well as how to do the weather optimization through Rule Engine. And I'll give you a couple of other examples as well. We're then going to finish off with PPC Investigator and ad copy. Now, I need to put a preface to this. If we have time, we will happily dive into an additional tool, but this is going to strongly depend on if we have time. So this is a race against the clock, and how amazing can we jam pack your day full of knowledge. So let's dive in. The very first tool, as I mentioned, that we're going to talk about is our PPC vertical benchmark. Now I have this set up within our demo account, so no customer data is being shown, but I also have actually passed the point where you will tell Optmyzr what is your vertical. And it's important to know that you can only change that vertical every 30 days. So you definitely want to make sure that you're confident in what you put, but also don't lose too much sleep if you don't see every single thing possibly correct. Now, a couple of questions we've seen since we've launched the tool that I wanted to provide some clarity on. We are not looking at this as a perfectly accurate, this is exactly how you're doing. What this is a really good general overview against the many accounts that are in your vertical, and it is looking at Optmyzr data to compare your account and your account performance in relation to others. Why this is important: if you see that your cost per clicks are trending up, but you see everyone's cost per clicks are trending up, well, that's not a huge deal. So for example, we see here that we're actually flat on our average cost per click, but the industry is going up. Now, what's interesting is that our click-through rate and our conversion rates are down. Now, if this was a real account, I would actually be concerned, but it's actually very interesting to see that for our vertical, it's down or flat for everyone else. So definitely not something to be too terribly concerned about. Additionally, you'll be able to see the average number of active campaigns and average number of ad groups. So you can see, are you running a structure that is aligned with how most of your competitors are running? Or are you running it slightly differently? And is that working for you or not? We're now going to pass it over to Arun to dive into the weather tool.
So I'm going to talk about this new weather tool that's been introduced in Optmyzr. And you can go to that weather tool in which is under optimizations under the name Optimize Campaigns by Weather. You can also find it in the new UI menu bar through under Management and Optimizations. Once you click it, you will land in this weather tool, which will take you to a page where you can create new weather-based optimizations. So it will look something like this. You select a campaign. Let's say I'm selecting this campaign, campaign. We can see what are the current location targets for that campaign and what are the current location excludes. And then you enter a place where you want to check weather, and you see I've entered Hyderabad here. And this campaign that runs in Hyderabad, I want to only run when it is raining in Hyderabad. Otherwise, I want the campaign to be paused. So I'll select an action, say enable campaign when conditions match, otherwise pause it. So now what will happen is this campaign will be only active when the forecast is set to rain. So you can either do this for current day, or we support forecasts until 16 days. So this tool will help you choose your target market and make sure your budget and funds are utilized only when it's appropriate. Let's say this campaign is selling winter wear, or this campaign is selling groceries, and you want to order stock of groceries when it's going to rain today, or when it's going to rain tomorrow, or when it's going to be when there is a forecast for thunderstorm and all that. So you can do all that and run your campaign here. We also support changing your targets and excludes based on weather conditions. Let's say you're running a campaign in the whole state of California, and you can enter California. So for all the cities, any city in California, when it rains, this campaign will be targeted to that location, and it will exclude any other location that is not having rain as forecast. So when you click next with automate now option, this strategy will be automated. You can select the frequency with respect to weather. It's ideal to run it daily so that you check the weather daily and update your campaign status. And if you click apply changes, the campaign will be paused or enabled. But if you want to see it and do it yourself, you can add it to alerts, and then you can see which campaign is pausing and which campaign has rain forecast today and which does not. So that's how you use this tool, and it will show up here after you add. And you can also click preview and apply to see the preview right now as it is. So you can, if you do this option, you can see in which cities in California that it's forecasted to rain today and which cities it is not forecasted to rain. And this is how the weather forecast right now it is. It's surprising that it's not raining anywhere tomorrow in California, but that means warm summer for you guys. So that is with respect to weather tool. We have also added weather capabilities to our tool rule engine, with which you can do much more strong actions. So for example, let me show this budget strategy, which what it will do is, for this campaign's budget, let's say this is a grocery campaign and people are going to stock up groceries again. So you have an ad which has customized message about that, like it's forecasted to rain few days after now, please stock up. And let's say that video ad is being run in this campaign, and you want to increase your budget, daily budget, when the forecast is thunderstorm. Let's say you have a very good campaign, but the budget is getting over in the first half of the day itself. But it's okay for you to let that campaign run even more because you're getting more conversions when the forecast is thunderstorm. You go to rule engine, select weather condition field, which you will find when you scroll through the attributes. Just below attributes, you'll find weather attributes, and you select weather condition, and you select the forecast day, and also enter the city. So this campaign, which is running in San Francisco, if tomorrow or day after tomorrow it is forecasted to be which is forecasted for thunderstorm to happen, you can set the daily budget to 1500. Otherwise, if there is no thunderstorm, you want to restrict your budget to 1000. So that is what this strategy will do. If you look at the suggestions, you can see that there is no thunderstorm in California forecasted for next 2 days. So the budget is going to be 1000. And as we have also put restrictions, the max budget is going to be 1500. When it is going to be storming, you can the if you automate this strategy, it will automatically update your daily budget for the campaign.
And before I take presenter roles back, just in talking about rule engine, a couple of other things to note. You can set rules for literally anything and everything. If you can imagine it, you can set a rule for it. And if for whatever reason you can't figure out how, absolutely get in touch with our customer success team. And we sometimes will actually build custom rule engine integrations or custom rule engine specs, specifically because we see enough customers ask for it. One other thing just to note in terms of this in the mind of the auditor, a lot of folks think about the rule engine in terms of action. There's quite a number of things that you can do also from a reporting standpoint, just to make your life so much easier. So definitely take advantage of that functionality. So as we're moving things back over to here, we're going to dive into the PPC Investigator. Now, if you've been an Optmyzr customer for a while, I am confident you've played with the PPC Investigator. What I'm not confident about is having played with the PPC Investigator for different ad channels. Now, one of the things that's actually very exciting is that we now support, and I'm going to only touch on it briefly because I don't have an account I can show you, but I'll just letting you know, you can quickly dance between your Google Ads PPC Investigator, your Amazon PPC Investigator, your Microsoft PPC Investigator, and really dive into that data. So why that's important. There are different rules of engagement for each ad network. So if you're seeing that certain things are trending down on Google and you see those same things trending down in Amazon, it doesn't inherently mean that that's good or bad. So you want to make sure that you're being mindful of the rules of engagement per ad network and that it is actually segmented. One of the beautiful things about working in Optmyzr is that you can dance back and forth between the different ad networks. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of that functionality just so that you are aware. If you want to do that, it would simply be just clicking and choosing your correct network. So the next thing we're going to dive into, and we're going to spend a little bit more time here, and I'm pretty confident we'll be able to get you that bonus content, is we're going to dive into our ad copy. Now, I pulled up our RSA, and again, it's due to this being a test account. We're going to actually go in and build a brand new text ad. And the reason why I'm pretty excited about this is we actually build in quite a bit of AI into enabling you to find your best creative. So just like you're sitting in your account and you're not sure what to do, sometimes going through the process of building an ad and seeing what a platform suggests for creative can help you understand how your creative is behaving. We're going to explore some of the beautiful functionality that can come from AI partnering with your brilliant human creative. And part of the reason why it is so important to us that we make that available to you is that, candidly, it can be really hard to find the time to be creative. So you will see when you go to the Create Ad tool, and the reason I like going to the Create Ad tool when optimizing ad copy is actually because the suggestions that I'll get from ad copy will sometimes give me really good ideas of what to fix in my existing ones. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into one click. Now, as I alluded to, it's really good to get ideas. It's also good to get ideas from paused campaigns and paused ads. Not because they're inherently bad or they failed, but because it's good to get those ideas. Sometimes you pause an ad because you're fixing a URL. Sometimes you pause an ad because a campaign is no longer needed during this time and you want to get it back. There's a number of reasons why it can happen. So I actually like getting the ideas for everything. However, it is most common to just look at active ads in the same ad group. So we're going to go ahead and click next. And Optmyzr is going to spit back some suggestions. Now, what's really useful and interesting about this, you are able to get headlines, descriptions, so on and so forth, but we don't actually tell you what to pin. And here's why. When you pin some things, but not everything, you're setting yourself for success. You're able to lock in your calls to action. You're able to lock in your grabbers. But if you leave everything open, we tend to see worse performance. But we don't want to make any judgment calls about what your calls to actions are and what your hooks are going to be. So we do require you to take that step. Although a cautionary tale on pinning, if you pin everything, it actually will perform a little bit worse than if you leave some things open to chance. We did a study back in 2022 that explored that. Now, a couple of other notes just about the creative. This is going to be based off of what we see in your account, as well as what we see across all of the various campaigns that what tends to do well in this sort of ad group. So definitely test out the creative, but don't feel obligated that you have to take advantage of that. Now, the reason why I'm sneaking in the URL checker, this tool is probably one of the most powerful tools to sneak in from an auditing perspective. If you are not talking or looking at your URLs and whether they're approved or disapproved, whether you're out of stock, you're setting yourself up for failure, never mind Q4 shopping season, but in general. This is particularly important if you're sharing your landing pages with your SEO team. So we're going to go ahead and add a setting to check for our URL checker. And we're going to add a brand new setting. And we're going to call this the profit and victory check. And we're going to look for broken URLs in not just ads, keywords, and site links, but also in performance max asset groups. And the reason why I'm so excited about this is that before shooting this video, the performance PMax asset group is actually relatively new. So very excited to see that come to fruition. Now the preview mode, and my dogs are very excited about this, which I'm sure you all love, is the preview mode will just notify you. It's important to note that site links or the site link assets are only going to be able to be adjusted with preview. The apply mode will actually pause your ads or your campaigns or your keywords. So we're going to go ahead and click the apply mode, noting that site links will only be notified. We're not going to be able to pause them. Now, pausing ads with a broken URL, obviously we want to do that. We want to pause keywords. We want to pause asset groups. This is the important one. Optmyzr thrives on enabling you to not have to think. I mean, we want you to think strategically, but we don't want you to have to think about mundane things like going in and re-enabling a pause entity once a thing is fixed. So going in and checking that is really good. Now, if you do need to set any specific rules, you can, but we're going to go ahead and click next. For campaign names, and this is where you would set the specific campaign name. While it's not case sensitive, spelling does matter. So just make sure that you have the campaign name. And then you're also going to want to make sure that you have any campaign names exclude. So for example, we want to check our branded, but our campaign name excludes North America. So it could say, for example, I'm abroad and, or say I'm in Europe and I manage the European campaigns, but I'm in an account that's Europe and North America, and I don't want the North America team mad at me. They can have their control. So for our clicks, I like keeping this at 0. Some people do like to have a minimum, but I would argue that if a link is broken or if a product is out of stock, you want to take advantage of that. The other thing is that text to monitor. So not available, not found, broken. This is where you would put in that information. And you can also check for those response codes. If you want to check any additional URLs, you can. If you want to include entities that have 0 impressions, you absolutely can. And then you would click next and it would run. So I acknowledge that this was quite a lot. We went over a number of things. And just one quick note before we move back to the full summary is you can set it for a particular date. So if you have a dev piece to your landing page or to your site, you absolutely can build that in, or you can have it run just any which day you like. So I'm going to go ahead and click done, and I'm going to click stop sharing because we are now in the general discussion around audits. We are not here to tell you how to audit. We are here to empower you with the tools that you need to make your campaign succeed. So if you are nervous about including a tool, don't include it. If you want to test it, wild and crazy test time. The most important thing to note about Optmyzr is that we don't actually enforce any account structure onto you. So there is no right or wrong answer here. All that matters is how you're succeeding, and using tools like the PPC Investigator to find those hidden gems, using the PPC benchmarks to kind of sanity check yourself, using ad copy to get ideas from past ads, the weather tool to really hone in on when it would be useful to budget out your campaigns versus not. There's a number of things that you can do. So we thank you very much for investing your time and wish you all the success on the path to profit and victory. Cheers, guys.